and welcome. Today I will be making a fluffy chicken out of granite clay. I'm going to start out with a basic shape, which is tin foil with scrap clay over it. And the color I will be working with is Premo Sculpey granite mixed with a bit of white. You can also take translucent clay and add pieces of pepper or sand in order to make a similar effect. This is what the color I'm going to be using looks like when it is baked. So starting out, I'm going to take a small ball of clay and roll it flat, cleaning off my little tool here. And I'm going to be wrapping it snugly around my scrap clay, being careful to press it slowly so as to make sure that I don't trap any bubbles in between the scrap clay and the granite. You may have noticed I had a hole at the bottom of the scrap clay. I'm going to take my needle tool and find that hole again so that no air is trapped on the inside with the tin foil. Once that part is done, I'm going to be taking another ball of clay to form the head. More clay is always better here because you can always shave it off if you make the head a little too big. And I'm going to smooth it in at the neck, working slowly until I have the head in the shape that I like. Now it is time to make the tail. I'm going to be using my needle tool to draw the feathers, trying to make it even on both sides. And once I do that, I'm going to be adding the fluff. I'm going to roll this out and separate it into sections so that I can make the small feathers. You can make these as large or small as you like depending on the style. I'm going to make mine, I'd say about medium. And I'm going to flatten them out and cut them in half. Once I have them all lifted off of the surface, I'm going to begin adding them onto the tail, smoothing them in gently at the base. Before I add any more fluff, it is time for the wings. I'm going to be rolling 2 roughly even balls of clay and then making them into teardrop shapes. And once I have my teardrops, I'm going to be pressing them flat, using both my hands and my tool to do so. Try to be gentle with the tool, otherwise you might press them out of shape. And then test them on your figure to see if they're about the right size. Mine are a bit too large, so I'm going to cut them a little smaller. I will be smoothing them into the figure in just a moment. You don't have to smooth the wings in this way, it's just a stylistic choice because I like the look of when real chickens are kind of fluffed up and laying down, how their wings sort of disappear into their back fluff. I think it's kind of cute. Once I have the wing shaped the way that I'd like, I'm going to be adding the primary feathers in using my needle tool, trying to make them as even as possible. And once I have those defined, I'm going to be taking my little pieces of fluff I still have and adding them to cover the tips of the wings. You can add as much fluff as you like or leave it out depending on how fluffy you want your chicken butt to be. Once I am done smoothing all the feathers in, it is time to add the beak. I'm going to be making the beak the same color as the body, but you don't have to do that if you want to define it as a different color. You basically just want to get a cone of clay and add it into the face. If you are using a different color and you can't blend it in like this, I would definitely recommend using some translucent liquid Sculpey to have it stick. Next, I'm going to be defining the facial shape using my needle tool. This is another optional step. And then I'm going to be taking my natural granite clay and making the comb and wattle, which is the top of the head and then the little piece that dangles under the beak. Chickens do still have them, even though roosters it's a lot bigger. I am also going to be making the eyes out of the same dark granite. Now I'm going to take some translucent liquid Sculpey and I'm going to apply it to the head and neck to place the wattle and comb. I usually like to place the comb first just because it's a little easier for me. And I'm going to kind of let it set there for a minute while I add the wattle. You can kind of wiggle it around until it's at the spot that you want it to be, because the translucent liquid Sculpey will be a bit slippery at first. Once these are in place, I'm going to take my needle tool again and add the ridges to the comb. Sometimes this flattens it a bit too much, and then you can use your fingers to raise the comb back up. Once that's complete, I'm going to use my dotting tool to place the eyes. I'm going to use a little bit of translucent liquid Sculpey to help the eyes to stick. I made the eyes a little too big, so I'm going to make them smaller. And there you have it.